Yo, I just want to say this. In life, we got to be able to we got to be able to deal with this. We got to be able to live with the decisions that we make. A lot of times, we don't realize the severity, the importance of the decisions we make. Um, I think that's another reason why now I truly believe in the fact of like allowing things to develop, seeing things through, living the right way. You know what I mean? Having as close to a pure heart as you can. Living righteous, doing things the right way, doing right by, just doing right by people. You know what I'm saying? That obviously deserve it. You know what I'm saying? But just being true, being fair. Um, I really believe that, like, the universe will take care of the rest. The creator will take care of the rest. Um, not in a way of like, oh, look at me, God, I'm doing good down here. Like, not doing it as if somebody watching. You know what I mean? Like, who are you? What kind of person are you? Um, when nobody's watching. So in that way, you know what I mean? In that regard, like, not, oh, I'm living right because I know it's a God in the sky. This God, with white hair and blue eyes and sandals and a white gown. He's watching me. He can see me. He's looking down on me, and he can see when I'm doing bad and when I'm doing good. And I don't want to make the naughty list. I'm not saying it in that way. Like, and that's why I think people get it mixed and screwed. Like, it got to be in your heart, bro. It got to be genuine. You know what I mean? It got to be genuine. It can't be, I'm not doing this because I want to go to heaven. I don't want to do this because I don't want to go to hell. I don't want to do this because I know God gonna see me. He gonna strike me down. He. All this he shit. That's another story. That's another video. But um, in life, we have to be able to live with our decisions. You know what I mean? The choices that we make. I say that to say, sometimes I think about my grandma. When me and my mom talk, and she go out there to visit and stay for a couple of weeks to help take care of her. And we just be having conversation about how she doing, or whatever. And oftentimes I think about my grandmother's journey. I think about what she may be going through, um, you know, in these later years of her life. Uh, I honestly wonder, like, how does she feel? What does she Is she okay with the decision that she made? You know what I'm saying? Like, is she still okay with the decision she made 20 something years ago? And the decision that I'm speaking about, that I wonder about, is her decision to not fight for her mobility. Now, you know how a lot of times you want to not believe that a person would do a certain something, or you want to believe, like, you don't want to believe, or you want to believe, like, you don't want to believe that they would, you want to believe that they wouldn't. And this is why I talk about certain things on my channel, certain things more than others. Certain things more than other things is like working a 9 to 5, jobs. It's funny because not only did I go through it later on in life, I watched my grandmom go through it. And it's crazy because you know how like you want to relate or you want to understand where somebody's coming from. And a lot of times as humans we say, bro, I feel you, bro. I get it. I understand. Damn, sis, I feel you. I feel your pain. But we really, really don't feel their pain. We really, really don't understand what they going through. Because we're imagining, but we've never really went through the same exact, you know what I mean? Or we've never really went through it to say like, yo, I've been there. Yo, I've been in that situation. I totally identify with what you're going through. A lot of us, I feel you. Damn, bro, I feel you. You know, you'll feel somebody to death. You know what I mean? Just so you can make a person feel like, you know what I'm saying? But how many of us can really say like, yo, I really went through that same exact and even when you have that thing in common, it's like it hit differently because you know exactly what that feels like. So with my grandmom, I used to watch her I was able to see who she was in her free time, like, you know, her days off, vacation. I was able to see her that it was two of her. Like it was a work her and then it was a out of work her. And it was days that, you know, as a young kid, you know, you would see somebody happy, displaying all of this happiness, and then you would see the other side, the work side and stress, going to work 5 days a week, all of that kind of stuff. And, you know, I noticed too, like my grandma, you know, she liked to drink, have fun and shit, you know, even listen to her oldies, be at the house chilling, had company over, have events. And as time went on, I just would notice, like, I always would hear her complain about work and hating work and, you know, all of that. But it was times that she didn't want to get out the bed. You know, it was times that my uncle had to come over and get her out the bed. Yo, why you still home? Why you know, he was one of them dudes like, why you know, program type nigga. Why you ain't at work? Why you ain't at work type shit. You know what I mean? And I say that to say like, watching her go through it and then later on going through it myself, I didn't fully understand then what I understand now because I went through it. I truly went through it for 8 years, 7 years, 8 years. You know, the whole doing what you got to do to take care of your family, to pay your bills, being at a job that you despise, that you hate, that is just destroying you, you know, slowly, just who you are, who you was, you know, just the things that we go through, you know, when we are in situations that we don't want to be in. And a lot of us have this in common. It's work, it's a job, it's what it does to you, it's how it affects you. And I got to that point. I was able to eventually understand what she was going through. Like, I got to a point where I didn't want to get out of bed. You know what I'm saying? But then I would look at a picture on my phone, or I would hear the kids downstairs playing or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was those things that kept pushing me along because I knew that I had to do what I had to do for my kids. You know, that was my driving force. That was my everyday motivation. When I ain't had nothing in the tank, that was the shit that would still get me there on fumes. You know what I mean? I nigga was riding on fumes for years. Don't know how I did it, but I did it. And seeing the shit that she went through and then me later on going through it in my own life, my own experience, I was like, oh shit, I get it. I understand it. And I noticed that about me. A lot of times you may feel like you can relate. You may feel like you understand at the time. But a lot of things, not justifying the certain things that I've later on understood as I got older. But even certain shit, like, I noticed that's how I am. Like, in those moments when it's fresh, I don't understand it the same as I do once I go through it. Once I go through my own life experience, I get older, I understand things differently, and I be like, oh shit, like I can literally, like that's how my mind is. Like I can literally go through it now as an adult or later on in life, and I can place myself back to where I was, or how old I was when I first experienced it, or when I first thought I understood, but I had no idea. I didn't understand. I thought I did, but I didn't. I can place myself back, you know what I mean? In whatever, in regards to whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? But I could just place myself back in that moment. And so that's what that was for me, like with my situation. I thought I understood it, but I had no idea. And so then once I went through it, I was able to go back like, oh shit, I understand what my grandma was going through. I understand because I felt that same way in that same exact moment, in that same exact scenario, you know what I mean? It being work related, whatever. Um, the reason I say um people have to uh be able to live with the decisions that they make in life is because I know, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm 90 something percent sure that my grandma hated working so bad, so much, that she went through something. She had got sick, right? And it was a little scare. And just being transparent, keeping it real, bro. Something happened with her mobility, right? Hear me out. Something happened with her mobility. And the doctors told her, like, yo, you got, whatever your condition is your condition. The good news is you can work through it. And the even better news is you can start now in ways to regain your mobility. Now, hear me out. This is the point that I'm making about being able to live with the decisions you make, because certain decisions we make, they're lifelong decisions, they're life lasting decisions. We make them in the moment. We make them impulsively. We make them when it makes sense for the now, for the right now, not realizing that you may feel differently later on, months, 5, 10 years from that. Like, you may feel differently. So you have to be careful with the decisions you make. So they told her, like, you can work, right? And you can start getting into it, physical therapy, blah, 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 to get your mobility back, at least. And my mom didn't want to hear this shit when I said it at first. Now she on board. And you know how certain things is like, it's forbidden. You can't say certain things because it might be a touchy situation, a touchy type of topic, subject or whatever. But I'm a realist, man. And I don't give a fuck who disagree with it. Family members, friend, I don't care. It, because of course it sound bad, right? But my theory was that she chose because, obviously, well, she didn't. So they told her she can, get her mobility back if she worked at it. She chose not to. My theory was purposely, because going back to what I said, and I can relate to it. It's different when you just hear something and it just hits your ears and that's it. It don't pair it, like it don't go nothing beyond you just hearing what you heard. You know what I mean? You process it differently. And because I'm qualified now to understand and to speak about things like this, because I went through it myself. Maybe not to that degree of like not wanting, if I lost my mobility, hating the job that much, that I wouldn't try to fight to become mobile again. Because if I became mobile again, that would mean that I would have to go back to a place that I fucking hated. And again, my level of hate might have not been her level of hate. You know what I'm saying? Or my level of depression or misery or what I was going through being somewhere I didn't want to be may have not been the same level of misery and depression and all of that stuff she was going through. But I you know, it's different tiers. I might have been on tier 3, she might have been on tier 10. I don't know. But I know what it's like. They told her to work through, to work immediately to start to get her mobility back, and she chose not to get her mobility back. She chose to stay disabled. You know, and they told her, hey, if you don't work on it, your legs, your muscles, they're going to die. Your muscles going to die out. You know what I mean? You're going to just be basically just fucking spaghetti. You know what I mean? Spaghetti noodles. Like, your legs is going to be done. And she chose, and you know, at the time I didn't understand it. I didn't think that she would do something like that. But as time went on, I understood it because I went through it, and I was like, yo, and I had the conversation with my mom. I said, yo, I really think grandma chose, you know, disability over mobility. No, she would never do nothing. You know, we always want to believe the people that we believe in and we love and we care about would never. You know what I mean? Or they would. You know what I mean? Like, they wouldn't or they would, depending on, you know what I mean, what they wouldn't or what they would do. But we have to be able to live with the decisions that we make, man. Because some of the decisions we make, they may make a lot of sense in the moment. They may make a lot of sense for the foreseeable future. But you may feel different about that decision later on in life, and it can be too late. And I just hope that when I think about my grandma, sometimes I wonder, like, is she okay for real? Is she feeling regret in her decision that she made? Is she okay with the decision she made? Hey, do she think she beat the odds? Does she beat the system? Not having to fucking work there another 10 years, 5 years, whatever it was, until she could retire. But with her choosing to not fight for her mobility, I felt like I understood it. I understood how she can make a decision like that. Because again, if she would have chose to get better, become mobile again, that would have meant that she would have had to go back to where she was working at. You know, where she hated being. Go back towards something that made her life miserable. I know it's a bold assumption, but I truly believe that. My grandma was a vibrant person. My grandma loved going on trips, and she went on trips often. She spent money often. She loved nice things, beautiful home. Like, she had a life, but it was that one thing in her life that trumped everything, because of what she had to go through, the time she had to put in, all of the sacrifices that she had to make in order to obtain that lifestyle. It's almost like she made a deal with the devil on some real shit. You know what I mean? Like, I look at it like that. Like, she made a deal with the devil. You know what I'm saying? And only she really knows, you know, and she'll go to the grave with that. But I don't know, it just make me think, man. Like I said, some of the decisions we make, bro, we got to be able to live with them. And I mean, listen, I might not understand it. I do, but I'm saying certain decisions people make in their lives or for their lives, I might not understand, but it ain't for me. Sometimes it ain't for me to understand. But that was something that I can relate to, because I've been in that state of mind of being miserable, being depressed about a job, and really wanting to, not anything, but just about anything to fucking save myself, get away from that, get out of it, escape it. You know what I'm saying? Working and the effects that it had on my life, my happiness. It's deep though. Like I said, you know, to make a decision like that, to to sacrifice, to trade off your mobility, to accept in your mind you'll never walk again. But it also means that you'll never have to work again. It also means that you were able to escape something that brought you so much, uh, you know, brought you depression, brought you so much unhappiness. But even in that, it's a flip side to that. It's a darker side to that decision. You know what I'm saying? You got to be able to live with the decision that you make. And I know my grandma, she go through a lot being disabled. It's a lot of things. I'm sure it's a lot of different times that she think probably like, damn, man, like, did I make the best decision? You know what I'm saying? Because it's a lot of shit I can't do. You know what I'm saying? But we can't judge somebody because shit, I don't know. I mean, what you might be going through now may have nothing on what you was going through when you was at that job. And like I said, I know what it's like now. I understand, like, me going through it for 8 years, that shit was, bro, I wanted to get out so bad. Not that I would have did that, but yeah, you definitely just gotta be, you gotta live, you gotta be able to live with the decisions you make. You know what I'm saying? For real. Cause yeah, that shit is serious, man. And like I said, even with that, like, to make a decision like that, it's like, wow, you know what I mean? And again, I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think so. I think that job did its number on her, and she was willing to do anything to get out of that shit. She was willing to do anything to get out of that. You know what I mean? It could have been a plan. Who knows? It could have been premeditated. I'm getting out. You know what I mean? Because some people they want to be free, man. They want to be free. They want to be free. You know what I mean? And by any means, you see niggas try to break out of prison and all types of shit. You take all types of chances because you just want to be free.